This is my demo of how to use Screencast-O-Matic. Now, when students turn in papers online on Foxtail, I have an option to download them into my portfolio. This is my George Fox account because I have another Google account. I've noticed I really have to be careful to use my George Fox account. And it goes right in here into this is considered my portfolio. And so students turn in things here, and then when I'm going to open them up, like let's say for example this is something a student turned in, and I'm going to open it up with Google Docs and pretend like you don't see the name of this student. Maybe I can scroll up so we can protect that student's privacy. So here is a paper that needs to be proofread, and using Screencast-O-Matic I'm going to create a video for the student, and it started when I told you it started. First thing I'm noticing is that this needs to be centered, and I think that he's got some mistakes with regards to this. Now typically speaking I will not do this. I will not do this without having it be considered suggestions. So I'm deleting some spaces for the student, and so what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get this centered, so putting it to be centered. And then also the student needs to know that they have to capitalize their title. And so all of these suggestions will come over here to the side, and when they go to fix them, they'll be able to just click a check. Now if I was doing Screencast-O-Matic with the student, I would go through reading this and pointing out the areas where there was a problem. For example, this is our topic sentence, and let's read it through it and see if we can create any suggestions. This book, The Goal, mainly talks about new global principles of manufacturing. The plan manager, named Alex Rogo, who used theory of constraints to manage and reform one company. In my video talking to my students, I would say you have to put this in lowercase. I want you to not write justify this paper, and you need to watch your verb. The plan manager named Alex Rogo, so you have to put an S in there for Alex Rogo. So I might use one or the other. I might not use both this tool as well as Screencast-O-Matic, but then again I might, depending on how I felt. Additionally, I'm going to select all, select the entire text here, edit, select all, and I'm going to take off that right justification. I have no idea why, but it bothers me tremendously. So let's move on to the next paragraph. Altering reading this book, I very like this book, this goals. I'm going to tell the student, I very like this book. Please switch these words around. I like this book very much. Or I like the goals of this book very much. This sentence is very Chinese in the way it's been written, and the way that Americans would say this is considerably different, along the lines of the goals in this book were perhaps the best part. And this is just a suggestion of what the student might write. So justice, I might say that this is a better way to write this sentence. The placement of goals at the very end of the sentence is not English typical speech. So you can see, you can go through the entire paper with the student. You can break up the text, explain to them what the problem is in different parts of the text. You can speak to them with that, and that way they can go back and listen repeatedly. Another thing that I'm noticing just off the top of this paper is I don't think his margins are quite right. I think he's possibly pumped his margins up, but I don't know for sure. Yeah, these margins aren't quite right. So Screencast-O-Matic is so then a really good tool for helping students to understand exactly what in the world you were looking at and why it was a problem. Also, obviously, I think that before using it would be a very good idea to first read through the paper initially, and then you can make a concise commentary on the paper. I'm going to cut this one off.